Aloha! I'm so excited to introduce our next guest. He is a big asset to our community, and he could be a big help to you in your future planning. So stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Allied HomeQuest Complete Connection with the Community in Real Estate. I'm Mary Camuso, realtor with eXp Realty, and I'm pretty stoked because today we have the pleasure of getting to learn and know more about Scott.rabe, a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual, also an honoree of the top 40 under 40. He also once was a business owner and entrepreneur in the special event industry. Scott founded, built, and sold a successful company to a private equity group. Scott is passionate about help guide his clients to build a lifetime of financial security. Welcome, Scott.
Thank
for being
you.
here
Thanks
today.
for having me. I appreciate it, Mary.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of want to touch on learning a little bit more about you as we begin this video. So can you please tell us, where are you from originally and what brought you to Virginia?
Oh, that's a very loaded question. It's probably the number one question I get asked when I tell people where I'm from. So I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii. Born and raised there in the 50th state. Half the folks in the mainland U.S., as we call it, don't know that it's the 50th state. Sometimes they're like, oh, is that international? Where are you from? But those that do, they're like, oh, that's amazing. What brought you here? That is by far the number one thing I always get asked. Why are you here? How could you leave paradise? And I always answer the same way with 4 very simple words. Happy wife, happy life. And so my wife had always wanted to live on the East Coast, frankly. When we first got married, she really wanted to get out here. And I was like, listen, I'm building a business. I really think it's going to go well. I would like some time to build this out. And so she gave me that time to build it out. And so when I was able to sell it, as you mentioned earlier, I wanted to give her that gift. I told her, now is your time. Pick any state that you want to live in, and I'll figure everything else out after that. So I let her choose. I had a feeling she was looking at the East Coast. We looked as far north as New Hampshire. She liked Portsmouth, New Hampshire for some reason, but felt that the winters there might be a little tough for us Hawaiians. And so all the way down, we looked at North Carolina. She felt it was a tiny bit too humid at times. She visited there, wasn't super enthused by it. And so we started looking a little further north. So DC made a lot of sense, very history driven. Our kids are homeschooled, so being able to live history and learn about it simultaneously was cool. And so we ended up looking around DC in big widening circles. And we landed on Stafford, Fredericksburg, because it's very suburban, with a bigger family. That works really well. And it's within range of major cities, Richmond, obviously, to the south, and then DC to the north. So for all those reasons, that's how we ended up here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a bigger family. How many folks do you have in your family? How many
it feels like 800 sometimes. But we have 5 children, my wife and I.
From what ages?
They are 14 all the way down to 2, almost 3. Yeah, so we're just getting started in some ways. I'll be that old guy at the baseball games cheering his kids on. But yeah, we've got 5 in there. So 14-year-old boy, his name's Brennan. 13-year-old girl, Peyton. 11-year-old boy, Aiden. He's almost 12. 6-year-old London. And then 2, almost 3, Harper.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They keep you busy, I'm sure.
They keep my wife busy. Yeah, she stays at home with them, so she homeschools most of them at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really look up to our homeschool moms because, it's not the most easy feat to balance all the things, especially with the range. So I have a lot of praise for your wife. For sure. And everybody got their taste of it during COVID, right? Yes,
so everybody became a homeschool mom, whether they wanted to be or not.
Yeah.
So some people loved it. Some maybe not so much.
Yeah. I love the parts of incorporating learning while we're through life. Like you said, living in DC, learning through just everyday experiences in life. So I thought that was super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I like to do that anyways, even beyond school and stuff. So it's just nice to integrate.
We only go around once, right? Exactly. So being able to experience that, enrich your life, that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So let's touch a little bit on Fredericksburg. Do you have a favorite aspect of Fredericksburg?
Good question. There's a lot of things to love about Fredericksburg. I remember because somebody told me early on that there's two types of people in Fredericksburg, right? There are those that come here and there are those that are from here. And I think that's sort of waning a bit as people sort of migrate in. But I always kept that in mind when I was here, and I did not want to be someone who really brought too much of myself to the community, but I wanted to integrate nicely with the community. And I've been able to do that. It's been really cool to participate in a lot of different things and meet a lot of different people. Although I will say the one thing I'm dogmatic about is I always want to bring what we call the Aloha spirit to Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
And so a lot of warmth, a lot of smiles. That's my personality by nature. And so just being able to be kind and loving to everybody that I connect with is a real, goal of mine there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a good job because not much people can deliver warmth through an email. But even in your email conversations with me, I feel that Aloha spirit. So
I do my best.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
And I appreciate that you've thought how you wanted to integrate with the community versus just, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I always feel like people that give really benefit a lot as well. And so, there's no better thing than to give of yourself to a cause or people and really put others before yourself, So I try to take that to heart.
Awesome.
For sure.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
So would you mind sharing with us what motivates you to do what you do? What drives you?
I think a couple of different things. Obviously, I don't want my wife and kids to be homeless. That always floats over all. But, I really am driven, I think, by a passion to improve things that I'm involved with, right? So whether that's a volunteer effort and trying to make things run a little bit smoother, or whether that is somebody's financial plan, right? And knowing that, hey, we can take someone from going from here to here, in incremental steps or sometimes in big chunks, that's very rewarding for me. So I really enjoy the opportunity to improve the world around me in some small way, shape, or form. I think that's what gets me up every morning.
You mentioned in a conversation once that you have superpowers. Would you mind sharing what they are?
So let me walk it back just a little bit. I use superpowers. Number one, we're here in the Metro Nova space, and Dan Craddock is a big superhero fan. I love that about him. Superpowers may be a little bit of an overstatement, but I think there are some things that I'm adept at there. One of them is I tend to listen pretty well. And I'll give you a good example and a bad example of that. When I was first going out with my wife, I noticed that she had butterflies everywhere. So she had butterflies on her Bible. She had butterfly stickers on the back of her car. They were just in and around her environment. And so me thinking, I'm like, she probably loves butterflies. So I'm looking for it was a birthday gift or something like that. And I knew that she hated the color gold, the yellow color gold. And so I saw these earrings, and they were butterfly earrings, and they were gold. And I was like, you know what? She loves butterflies. I think she'll be okay with this. So she opens up the gift. She's like, I don't like gold. I was like, yes, but they're butterflies. And she's like, and I said, you love butterflies. And it turns out it was just circumstantial. So I was perceptive. I was listening. I was paying attention to her verbal and nonverbal cues, but it just happened to be a bit of a red herring. So that's how it can kind of turn negative sometimes with me being perceptive. On a positive side, I listen to what she likes. And so one time she was talking about, she loves these Nicholas Sparks movies, and Channing Tatum is in a lot of them. And so I'm like, oh, she loves Channing Tatum. I'm going to get her a cool Mother's Day gift. So I did what everybody does when they don't know something. I went on Google and I typed it in, how to get a hold of Channing Tatum. And some random person posted, like, right to this address in Hollywood. It's like, okay, nothing to lose. So I crafted a little handwritten note to Channing Tatum. And I'm like, listen, my wife's a big fan, loves your work. It's Mother's Day coming up. I would love for you to tell her that she's a great mom. Here's a Mother's Day card. Please write something in it. And put maybe a couple of, surf stickers in there from Hawaii. So I thought, hey, that might be cool, get his attention. Put in a clear envelope, boom, sent it off to the ether, right? Like, month and a half goes by. I figured or assumed, listen, this is not going to go anywhere. And so I already had a backup gift, of some kind I bought for her. Mother's Day was great. Boom. About a month later, I get this package stuffed in our mailbox. And I pull it out and I look and it says, blah, 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 Hollywood. And I was like, oh, I think my wife needs to open this. So I bring it in the house. She opens it up and she pulls out a full-size headshot of Channing Tatum, signed, and it says, Jarvelin, you are a great mother, ... Channing Tatum, something like that on there. And then she pulls out the card, opens it up. Dear Jarvelin, I'm so sorry. I've been filming, ... whole long list. And, apologies. How nice, I said good things about her. Signs his name. And she, of course, looks it up. Oh, yeah, he was in that area at the time when it was written. Like, she's, fact checking here. Yeah. And so it's just a great experience to, number one, show perseverance and kind of pushing boundaries, but then also the fact that I paid attention to something that she loves and she likes and was able to deliver then kind of a great experience.
How cool is
for
that?
her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think you get some big points for that.
Yeah, I did get some kudos. I've burned them all up by this point, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's balanced, right? Give and take all through life.
There you go. There you go. There's a lot of things probably people don't know about me, but I'm a very open book. One experience is, sort of touching on resilience. And it's meaningful because I heard a story yesterday about somebody that actually just had this happen to them. But when I was 2 years old, I got actually run over by a car.
That's crazy.
Like, that's not a story most people can tell because normally they're not able to tell it, right? And so I was crossing the street by our Honolulu Zoo there right in Waikiki. And I was 2 years old. I loved rocks for some reason. I was holding a handful of rocks, most precious thing in the world. And I was holding my mom's hand on the other side. And I pulled out of her hand to go run back and pick up some stones that I dropped. And so she tells me, because I don't remember much of this, she tells me that she was bending over and calling me and saying, hey, we need to go. The light's going to turn, ... And I was there 1 minute and then gone the next. And she didn't know what had happened. And a car had come by, run the red light, picked me up between the tires, and just taken me down the road. And, you're a mother. You can imagine how your heart would just drop then, right? And so the bus driver is wailing away on his horn. The driver stops, and, I'm there wedged underneath the car. So paramedics pull me out, boom, rush me to the local hospital. And it just so happened that this is 1983, 84. Like, CAD did not exist back then. A lot of the medical technologies existed back then. And so there happened to be a world-class plastic surgeon from India who was touring the hospital on vacation. Because I guess that's just what they do, on vacation. And so he was touring the hospital. When I came in, he says, I'm taking his case. I'm taking his case. And so he had to figure out, based on my youth and how I might age, how to re-sew me together so that it wouldn't be offset by too much there, of course. Obviously, he did a terrible job. But no, it was just everything really, lined up, and it really gave me an appreciation. And I tell some folks this. That's why not a lot of folks know. I don't tend to, share this out to, I don't know, the internet, for example. But it really gave me an appreciation for life.
Yeah.
and how important that is, and how every day is really a gift. Because if you really think about it, 99 out of 100 times, put me back in that situation, I'm not sitting in this chair today.
Yeah.
And so to be able to really appreciate that I've been given that second chance, and I think that also drives, hey, why do I give what I want to give so much and help people out so much, is because, frankly, these moments don't belong to me, if that makes sense, right? They are really something that I'm happy to give away because they're not mine.
Well, I'm glad that you're here with us today.
Yeah.
Living, breathing miracle.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of your superpowers.
It's definitely not. I've been beaten up a few other times. So, yeah, no, not Superman here. Not Superman.
Are you sure there's not an S underneath your shirt?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
That's not chance, right? Like that he was there and you were there, and so that's really amazing, and grateful that you're here sitting with me today. Let's just talk a little bit about your career path.
Yep.
What motivated you to dive into financial planning?
That was a perfect segue, because that's actually what I was going to say following that. So when I was exiting my career as a business owner, and I'd gone to school for business, and I was really happy I was able to apply that in a very hands-on, practical way as an entrepreneur. But obviously it was time to move on, and I was looking for something where I could utilize the knowledge and the stories and the experiences that I've accumulated over time and help people. I really love helping people, as you know. And so I'd had conversations with a bunch of folks that I knew kind of in and around the financial sector, and seeing, where would I be a good fit, and where can I really make an impact. And so I had a friend who was a managing director at Northwestern Mutual, and he had said, Scott, I know you can do this. I just, I'm not sure if this is what you want to do. And the more I dug into it, it really struck me how much of an impact helping someone with their finances can be. As you know, it's one of the major stressors and causes of conflict. And so being able to help somebody in that manner, great, but even more meaningful in a lot of ways, and drawing from that story that I shared about me getting hit and run over by a car, life's precious, and sometimes things can come out of left field that you least expect and really put you on your butt, or, cause a lot of harm or heartache or detriment to a family nucleus or to loved ones. And so being able to solve those problems for people, identify what those issues are, whether it's in risk mitigation, whether it's in wealth management, being able to figure that out and identify it for people, and then encourage them to take action on those things in the right time, right? I love the saying, don't sell products, solve problems, right? And that really struck me as a way that I can be a value add to people and help them with things that they may not realize, because they may not have had experiences like I've had with getting, run over by a car, or seeing family members get lost, right? And so just being able to help them to understand what that may look like, and to a degree what that feels like, is meaningful and powerful.
So you're currently partnered with Northwestern Mutual.
Right.
How long have you been with them?
I've been with the firm for a little over 2 years now. Yep. And it's been, drinking from a fire hose is kind of the, operative tagline there. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to know. But I'm very blessed to have had a career that was in business. And so understanding, how money works and how the wealth gets built was really, really helpful to me, to just be able to look for areas that I needed to understand and add on. If you think about it, there's different products that are out there, and being able to recognize those as tools in a tool chest.
Yeah.
But it really requires sort of that, master carpenter. I suck at home building, but master carpenter or doctor even, to utilize the right tool for the right situation, right?
Yeah.
And that's really the journey that I've been on here over the last couple of years in building out my understanding of the different tools and maybe their nuanced utilization and how to deploy that for my clients.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So many
absolutely.
components.
There are a lot of components for sure.
Awesome. So I was going to ask you what it means to be a financial advisor. Like, what does that look like? What is that role? But I think you kind of already touched on that with your last answer. So maybe you could go into instead, what are the services that you offer?
Sure. So it's in a weird way, and we'll go back to that question that we glossed over a little bit. As a financial advisor, my main role is listening. Listening to people, hearing their stories, and poking and prodding. When you go into, I love the doctor analogy because I think it relates really well. When you go to your doctor, he doesn't walk through that door. We were just in the ER the other day for one of my kids, and a little
okay?
while, everything's fine. Okay. Everything's good. Yeah.
Just gotta be sure.
Yep, thankfully so. But you wait, and then when the doctor comes in, he doesn't come in or she doesn't come in and go, "Hey, nice to meet you. I've taken a look at everything. Bang, bang, bang. Here's your diagnosis." Right? They start with questions because it's not to fill up the time, but they truly are curious. They want to trust but verify. And so I love that about being an advisor is I can't step into a relationship going, "Listen, I know how to help you. Here's what you need to do." Boom, 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 right? I've got to listen. I've got to ask intelligent questions. And that becomes a very compelling storyline because everyone's story is so different, right?
Yeah.
So as that advisor, I really love being able to come alongside those clients, unpack, listen, digest, and then figure out a plan that really guides them through life.
That services like their individual needs.
Yeah, and as part of that, your original question there was, what services do we offer? What I love about Northwestern Mutual is it's not, specialized in one thing or the other. So sometimes I'll run into clients who, they've got people on their team, as everybody does and should. So they've got advisors in, taxes, they've got advisors for wealth, they've got advisors for insurance, sometimes this, that, and the other. What I love about my particular role is we'll touch on everything, but really we are planners. And in order to be a planner, logically, you've got to have a plan. And so we really bring all the pieces together for someone and build out that roadmap. The best way I can use a story for that is Legos, right? My kids, they love Legos. I'm sure your kids, they're all over the floor. You'll step on them. But when you open up that box of Legos and you dump it out, there's stuff, and you can organize them by shape or by color, a bunch of different ways. But in order to get the picture on the box, you need that instruction manual that comes in there, and very much the same way in a financial plan, I provide people that plan, that instruction booklet, that you do this step first and second and third and fourth based on your situation so that you can end up with what you said you wanted, which was a great retirement or a nice life or to be able to get your kids through school debt-free or so on and so forth, right? And so being able to help them through that in a cohesive manner, that's the value add that a financial planner like myself would bring to the table.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
For sure.
And thanks for sharing the plan and helping so many folks get there to where their destination that they're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It goes along with your Aloha spirit.
That's what I do. Yeah.
So, aside from work, let's kind of talk about some of the other things that you're working on.
Sure. We talked about this very early on. I love getting involved in the community. So some of maybe bit off more than I could chew, but some of the things that I connected with and gravitated towards because of my experience, I think like yours in the events industry, I think from catering, I did the support role for caterers and other folks like that. And so events just kind of runs through my blood. So I'd connected up first and foremost with the Chamber of Commerce. That was the first group that I'd connected up with here. And to now, I sit on their Gala Chamber Committee.
Oh, cool.
And so we just had our gala last weekend. It went off great. If you missed it, you missed it. Get some tickets next year. But it was, I think, over 500 attendees.
That's awesome.
Biggest, I think, that they've ever had. And just fantastic. I also teach a class there monthly for chamber members that want to learn a little bit more about how to network in the community, how to connect with people on a meaningful way. And then I've gotten involved with Rotary Club here. I've gotten involved with the SPCA. I've gotten involved with a couple of local groups that meet up periodically. I think that's how we got connected. So I just try and stay in touch and in contact with the Fredericksburg and Stafford community. In addition to that, I do some work statewide or regionally with the Asian American Chamber of Commerce. And so the AACC, you don't have to be Asian to be a part of it, but it connects members who are Asian or their advocates there and allies, and just help support that within the region. So they've got a gala coming up, and I connect with the board and some other folks on that level. Interestingly enough, I'm connected with the Filipino Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii.
Nice.
And so I approached them as a member and I said, hey, I'm a million miles away, but I'd won an award from them in years past, and so I wanted to give back a little bit. And I said, I can help put together a program to seed and develop young leaders in the Filipino community. And so we do a fellows program that I sit in monthly with a couple of on-site coordinators, people that are co-facilitators there with me. And we teach and embed knowledge onto a handful of selected young Filipino future leaders. So that's a very cool experience. I go on Zoom, it's like 9 or 10 p.m. at night, and it goes for 3 hours. So I'm up till early hours in the morning for that one, but it's very rewarding to be able to see them understand how business works in Hawaii and how that ecosystem operates so that they can integrate with that as well.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll bring in fractional mentors. We'll bring in, a time to share their experiences and help them get in touch and vocalize what they're going through. And then we give them an opportunity to present on a topic that they're struggling with, or maybe a choice, path A, path B, and get feedback from their group, from their internal group. So it really develops their skill set of listening, of being able to open up, and then to learn from people that have been there, done that. Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You're giving back in so many ways.
It's probably more than I should, but I love it. I can't say no. I can't say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate all that you're doing, and I know that everybody that you're connected to as well appreciates all the efforts. And it sounds like you're really making a difference in the lives of those young entrepreneurs and Filipino folks to develop them, and giving up the sleep to give them give them the help. That's worth it.
Yeah. 100%.
So cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I kind of have like a little bit of a unusual question, not too unusual,
Sure.
but
Fire away.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. Funny, I asked that question to my clients, but when the spotlights pointed the other direction, it's a little challenging to think about because it's such a far time horizon, right? What are we in, 2023? 2013 feels like so far away. And now to think, all right, 2033, like what's life going to look like? I always think the first thing, like how old am I going to be, right? That's the easiest thing to think about. And I will be pretty ancient by that point. I had somebody the other day tell me they thought I was 32, and I was like over the moon. I was thrilled with that. I'm actually 41 right now, going on 42. So that means I'll be like 51.
That's
like,
not ancient. Old's like, when you're
Sure.
like 73 and you can't dance anymore, okay, then maybe you could call yourself old.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. But over mid-century, I'll be 51. Our oldest will be out of the house. So I think family dynamic for a family as big as ours really is gonna inform that look and feel, right? And so, they'll be out of the house. We'll have a few left there, but all teenager. That's crazy to think about for the most part. I think we've really enjoyed the few years that we've been here. If I was here, I tell people I can live anywhere in the world. Like, drop me in a shoebox in Detroit, I'm golden, right? But we've really loved coming here. People, when we were leaving Hawaii, as folks that are there, Aloha Spirit, all that sort of stuff, like, oh, it's going to be different. The mainline's going to be different. You're not going to really like it as much. People are different, so on and so forth. Like, if I'm being honest, it's been a little bit of the opposite. We've found such warm, friendly people here for the most part. Loving, really compassionate and caring, made some great friendships. Like, I think they're missing out on the islands, frankly. So if we were here, I think that would be amazing. I hope to continue to be a resource to the community. I hope to have had a million conversations with people just like this, maybe a little bit shorter than this, but being able to connect with people in a meaningful way, and just sharing a part of life with folks. I think in the business development side, just continuing to learn and grow. One of the things that I'm working on from a professional development standpoint is something called the RICP, which is a retirement income certified professional. So I'm a big believer, retirement really forms a lot of the planning mechanism for folks. You're either leading towards it, or that forms the basis for what you can do kind of post-retirement.
Right.
And so that's such a big topic that I really want to iron out, everything that I can in the retirement space. So that's something that I'm passionate about, and I'm working towards that. Hopefully we'll have that completed by the end of the year. But then just continuing to learn and grow as the laws change, as product changes, as things come online, but always with that, clear vision of how do we best get someone to their goals, right? That needs to inform everything at the end of the day. So I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the way things are going, Mary. There's not really any big goals out there for me. I think if we raise good kids and we were able to be a value add to the community, we were able to enrich people's lives and make a difference, and just maybe make them smile a little bit more. You can give them some of that island sunshine in their soul. That'll be a win. That'll be a good thing.
I love that. Very cool. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I think that we could probably go on all day here.
Yeah, I can talk a lot. My wife can tell you.
But the best thing to do is probably just go ahead and cut it. And if you need a financial advisor, you could go ahead and contact Scott. I've put his information in the comments below. Or if you just need some advice on, the planning services or navigating your way, or if you have a referral for him, you're also able to contact me, and I'd be happy to connect you with him as well. So I'm Mary Camuso, realtor with eXp Realty, Scott.rabe with Northwestern Mutual, financial advisor, and we thank you for being here with us today. Thanks so much. Bye for now.